Hey everybody, it's Judd Meyers with you again from BlastoffComics.com and the Blastoff Podcast. So recently the Blastoff Podcast went to Paris, France to interview some extraordinary writers and artists from Humanoids Publishing, one of which is the award-winning screenwriter and television writer and graphic novelist, Xavier Dorison. Xavier is an extraordinary human being. He's done so many graphic novels, some that have never been translated here in America, some that we hope to see soon, one of which is SANCTUM, which won all kinds of awards in Paris and in Europe, all around Europe. It's been translated into many different languages. We talked all about that. And here in America, you might know him from he and Terry Dodson's work at Image on The Red One. This is a great interview. I really enjoyed it, and I hope that you do too. Hey everybody, I'm Judd. This is another BlastoffComics.com interview session for our podcast and our YouTube channel. Thank you all for joining us. We've come a long way. We're here in France. Yes, France. And we're here interviewing some of the greatest writers and artists of comic books, graphic novels, albums here in Europe. We visited Humanoids Publishing, which is a wonderful place. And now, today, we're going to be spending some time in his own personal office with Xavier Dorison.
Hello.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Xavier Dorison to all of us in Hollywood. But thank you very much for inviting us into your home. Thank you for giving us some intimate time in the place where all the work happens. We very much appreciate it.
Thank you for coming here.
So, what we normally do, format-wise, on our show is we start with what we feel is the most important question in any interview for our purposes, and that is, what is the first comic book you ever remember reading that meant something to you?
You know, I'm living in France, and I am French,
yes.
But and I swear it's the truth. The first comics I've read was American, and when I was young, we had in France a journal, sort of newspaper, which name was Strange. But when I was kid, I said Strange, okay, and because of course I didn't speak English, and in this Strange, we had Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Daredevil, and that was my first comics.
And these were reprints.
It's just here. Let me show you.
Yes,
let
please, please.
That was my first comics.
Okay, this wasn't actually the first one, but these were the first ones that.
For me, yeah,
okay.
one of the first ones.
Okay,
yeah. It's pretty old.
That's what that is. Oh yeah, plus you have Spidey Super Stories on the back here.
Yeah.
These are actually some of my favorite comics when I was a kid. So, and a Hulk Thing fight. That's pretty amazing. That's a great
And
book.
sometimes these covers were made in France.
Right.
I mean, the content, of course, was an American original.
Yes.
But the cover was made in France with a French artist.
Can I open it?
Yes, of course.
I promise you I know how.
Yeah.
You notice I take the tape off, because that's what you have to do. I lost a lot of good comics when I was a kid, getting tape stuck on it. So these were reprints. This is from 1980, this one. So these were late 70s reprints. You got Daredevil, Gene Colan artwork, which is pretty wonderful. You've got some 70s Spidey, Esposito Spidey. And you have Jack of Hearts. I mean, you're deep in France as a kid reading Jack of Hearts. That's great. That's wonderful. So, do you remember a story that you read that stuck with you? Like that, or was it just, I just remember reading these?
I'm going to say, I'm going to tell that in French.
Okay.
Mais la première histoire vraiment dont je me souviens c'était une histoire de Iron Man, combattant, un chevalier avec une tête de mort, sur un cheval avec des ailes, dans un contexte où je crois que c'était la Latvérie, le pays du Docteur Doom. Et en fait, c'était tellement plein d'imagination, tellement plein de force, tellement plein de rêves, que j'ai dû lire cette histoire 200 fois.
The first comic I really remember reading was a story with
With Iron Man.
Herman fighting a knight with a death face on a horse with
On flying horse, yeah.
flying
It's all
horse.
flying horse.
Sure.
It was full of imagination and full of dreams, and I may have read that 2,000 times.
Wow. What, do you have a copy of it? Is that something you still have, or is it?
Yeah, but not in this office.
Yeah. No, I don't need to see it. I just want to
Yeah,
find
I
out
still
if you
have
still
it.
have it.
Yeah.
There's touchstones for everything. I call them power totems.
Yeah. Because, en fait, ça a effectivement un rôle très important parce que avec les années, j'ai essayé de garder cette énergie, à la fois l'énergie du plaisir d'enfance et l'énergie de ces bandes dessinées très dynamiques, et de les mélanger avec, je dirais, un tempérament et une culture plus européenne.
You could paraphrase. I'm getting some of it, but not all of it.
That's the importance that I wanted to keep is the energy of these books, especially the energy of the childhood.
Yeah.
And
On pourrait dire une sorte de nostalgie en fait.
kind of nostalgia.
Nostalgia.
Yeah. When I try to keep this nostalgia and to keep this part of dream and this part of typically American writing, very dynamic, very everything is done. It's very simple and everything goes very fast. And I try now to mix these two energies and a sort of European, I would say, culture or specific way of considering, word and things. So and it is exactly the mix I try to reach between this energy and what I am now, where I'm living now, and when I see from here, from France.
Mm-hmm. When you were a boy, did you have friends who also read comics? Did they read more French comics, or did they also love these and you traded them and talked about it, or were you alone?
No, it was very famous in France. This strange, young guys like me, young boys, they really liked it. And later, I discovered some major French artists, like if I speak about writers like Jean Van Damme, and then I tried to to make my own mix between Stan Lee, Chris Claremont, and Jean Van Damme.
Yeah. And did your parents welcome you reading, and they didn't have a problem with you reading comic books, or?
No, they didn't have any problem. But in my family, there was absolutely no comics. It's in France in the 70s. Grown-up people or adults, they did not read comics. It was considered here only for children, and
in America too.
In America, it's funny because 1 month ago I was in Japan and I was talking with my translator, and this lady was maybe 60 or 70, and she read mangas since she was not 4, but maybe 5 or 6 years old, and now she's still reading comics, and it's I find great to see someone that old loving manga and or comics, because it's normal for them. So now in my family there wasn't any comics, and they didn't understand it, but they had no problem with it.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's good. I mean, for me, the reason why I got my first job in a comic book store was because my father didn't want me to read comic books.
Oh.
It was because he gave me allowance. I don't know what they refer to it here when you get a little bit of money every week.
Yeah.
Your parents give you, we call it allowance. So
allowance, okay.
Give me my few bucks every week, and I would ride my bike to the comic book store in California in the 1,000-degree weather, and I would go to the comic book store and spend all my money, and then I would ride home and spread them out on my bed, and oh my gosh, and I made the mistake of talking to my father about it, and he saw all these comic books. He said, "How much of your money are you spending on these things?" And I said, "All of it." And he said, "I want you to spend your money on something else." And I said, "I don't want anything else." He said, "Go spend it with your friends." And I said, "I don't have any friends." and he said, "Well, if you keep spending money on these comic books, I'm not going to give you any more allowance." And I said, "So don't give me any more allowance." And that was the end of the money from my father. And I used to ride my bike to the comic book store, and I would read my